What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Hello and welcome to Mindfully Thrive with me, your host, Ella Humphreys. This is the podcast that celebrates the present, the joy in where we are, the journey it's taken to get here, and the ability to see our greatness for the future. We celebrate female founders, adventure seekers, and creative entrepreneurs who are building their dreams alongside raising babies and any other life commitments that can so easily distract us from the path we truly desire. This is a podcast about coming back to who we are in this life and that our dreams, goals, and ambitions are valid and possible while also being a loving and present parent. This week's quote by the delightful Buddha is a favourite of my guest today. Lucy Sayles is a mindset and energy coach. She has experienced working in both a professional role and also as a creative entrepreneur. She started from a very young age with the desire to be financially independent and built up a portfolio of property. Just after giving birth to her daughter in 2006, she took on a bricks and mortar business that came off the heels of her own passion project, exploding into a profitable business. During her entire journey, Lucy has become increasingly more aware of the work necessary for success. It wasn't about fitting in, it wasn't about standing out. It was about finding her true purpose and digging deep to discover what that meant to her. It is through this work that she has moved into a new phase of her life by coaching others to take on a similar approach to success. Through the power of intention, using intuition and energy work, she helps her creative clients build confidence, find their authentic self, and embrace their successes. Lucy is highly motivated and motivating. So let's get some inspirational advice as we find out what we can do today to move us in the right direction towards our greatness. Hi Lucy, welcome to Mindfully Thrive.
Hi, thank you.
So before we begin, there are 3 quick fire questions I like to start with. So what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for this opportunity, to be honest. That's what come up for me. I'm grateful to be here, literally.
So nice to have you here. What does thrive mean to you?
Yeah, this made me think. Thrive means to grow and progress in a healthy and balanced way. So a really positive experience. Like notion if somebody is thriving or something is thriving. It's a lovely word.
Very nice. And what does an ideal morning look like for you?
Okay, so yeah, this is a massive sort of topic for me, really, in terms of within, probably the last 12 months, I consciously set out my day. My ideal morning involves like intention. So I try and get up as early, before everybody else in the house. It involves time, unplugged time, but by that I mean no time on the phone, no social media until I decide, I've set my day up. So a 10-minute yoga practice followed by a 10-minute meditation. I have celery juice in the morning. That's my sort of nutritional start. And I have a good think about what the day involves and how I'm going to approach it. So I'll do a little bit of intuition sort of work and journaling. I use that if I need it. So, depending on how much time I've got, really, if I've only got half an hour, then the yoga, the meditation, and the celery juice. If there's more time, then I'll spend time on the other things as well.
Great. So you really prepare yourself before you then sort of open up your space for others.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Great. So as I said in the introduction, you're a mindset and energy coach. And could you share with the listeners what that involves and what are the general needs that your clients have and how you help them?
Okay, so my mindset and energy work, it's really, I work with creative entrepreneurs, so usually have already got a business in practice and are perhaps feeling that they could achieve more, that they want more, and something's missing. So they're usually work on goals that they're kind of wanting to achieve, and that can be either within their business or personal goals that they feel the business would benefit from. And we approach these sort of mindset things. So by that, we get clear on what your goals are, super clear, and then we work on belief work. So that means looking into your limiting belief, what's holding you back, and then sort of transforming those to be more aligned with your goals and where you want to get to. I work with the law of attraction, and also feminine and masculine energy as well. So that's a huge topic, but I can use that energy work to focus clients' minds on exactly what they want to achieve and how they're going to get there. So I find it incredibly fulfilling and exciting. It's really positive working within and supporting people with.
Definitely. I mean, I can really see how the benefits of just becoming more aware of our limiting beliefs instantly changes our day, but it's knowing how to make that change over a consistent period of time into new habits and new beliefs that takes the work of a coach, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's having that support really as well, sort of getting crystal clear on what you're wanting to achieve, and then the clarity on, and like you say, the self-awareness in terms of what's holding you back. So what patterns are you repeating and not realizing why you've been doing that, and unpicking those and reframing them to work for the goal that you now have in mind. I think a huge part is, for me, is belief work, believing that your beliefs create your reality. So you need to believe things can happen to enable them to. It's huge. And like you say, sort of working alongside, having somebody, a cheerleader almost, that's where the coaching is so powerful.
And for our listeners to have a bit of an understanding of your journey, having known you for a very long time, it's kind of like this idea that we have, imagining the road to success, and our vision of it is a very straight, nice, pointy arrow pointing upwards to the stars. But then in reality, that road of success, it doesn't actually look like that. There's highs and lows, there's speed bumps, some broken bits along the way, dead ends even. So it kind of looks more like a squiggle of knots. And then eventually things start to run a little bit more smoothly. You start to get a bit of an incline motion that then creates that momentum to start moving upwards into what we all have our own vision of what success actually looks like. Would you say that's a pretty accurate explanation of your life path so far?
Absolutely, yeah. Completely. Twisty turny and closed doors, and yeah, definitely.
So maybe it would be interesting for you to go back a little bit in time, not too far back in time, to when you're in high school maybe, and making those decisions for life's big dreams and goals. Yeah, could you share a bit about that period of your life?
Sure. Yeah. So when I look back now, it's very clear to me that I did intuitively know what I wanted to do. And at the time, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I definitely wanted to work for myself. There's no doubt about it. I used to have all sorts of ideas about what my business would look like. And floristry is something that was really sort of appealing to me, but it was the possibilities that lay within the idea of being running your own business. I could be a millionaire if I did that, and that really a fire in my belly. But the expectation, or the society and education system and family and all the different all those good things, they don't point to those down that route. They all wanted me to carry on with my education, go to university, get a proper job, and take a far more traditional route. So that sort of crushed that dream, really.
So you listened to
I listened.
external influences over internal intuition.
Completely. I'm a good girl.
At that age, we're very young. We're kind of brought up to trust and believe in our teachers and our parents, and everyone older than us knows best, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what happened?
So yeah, so I did as I was supposed to do. I went to university. I got a degree. I had no idea what I wanted to, what course I could do that would excite me, and I picked quantity surveying. It was the only Q in the career book, and it sounded all right. So I went for it, and I had a very miserable time at uni, really. But when I look back, but I stuck it out, and that's what you do. And I got a really good job, but there was always something not right, and I just used to think it was me. I used to just think, I'm missing the point here. Why can't I be good at anything? So I'd change jobs regularly, no fear of doing that, really. And again, I look back and I think it's because I just knew I needed to be happy. I wasn't prepared to settle and just plod on. So I've had lots of different jobs, and it used to astound me how it didn't matter what interview I went for, I used to seem to be able to get whatever job I wanted. And I guess that's belief work again. See, when I look back, that if you believe you can do it, you can, and it's just so true. Probably 10 years, if not more than that. In and out of unfulfilling careers, good, well-paid jobs.
So how did you find the courage then to run with making changes and move into the creative entrepreneurial side?
A few sort of twists of fate, really. My first entrepreneurial leap was into property development. So I managed to get me through my unhappy 20s. I managed to get myself very heavily in debt. I look back now and I think it was because I knew I was supposed to be wealthy. So I just lived beyond my means. It was a very traumatic sort of and shameful experience. I was determined to get myself out of it through hard work. So I was buying and selling houses, and then somebody pulled out of a house sale on the last day, on the day of completion. Felt like the whole world had fallen in on me. But somebody at work said to me, "Why don't you rent it out?" I dismissed it initially, but anyway, that's what led me to my property portfolio. So that was my first entrepreneurial leap, and it really gave me the courage, the belief that I can do this, and I'm loving it. I love the risk but also the freedom, the sort of, I think any job has always made me feel like I've had my wings clipped, and that doesn't sit well with me. But yeah, so that was the first, and then the more creative sort of, I guess I sort of say that in a way that what sets me internally sort of felt more aligned was when I was pregnant with my daughter. So Sienna's 15 now, and I was looking for nursery decorations and I just couldn't find anything that was bright and cheerful. So I ended up making bunting to go around the room, the top of the room, and it led to me setting up an eBay shop, which led to a website. So that was the next venture, as it were.
Yeah. From that?
From that I kept that. Then I was on maternity leave. I was self-employed as a quantity surveyor at that point, and that felt good because being self-employed, although doing the job wasn't what I wanted to do, I was self-employed. So again, these wings I can up and go, and I can do whatever I want to do. So I was on maternity leave, and then I got a phone call from someone I used to work for offering me a job. Again, back doing professional construction, project management. And I went back to it like this good girl. It's the only way I can explain it, is that I just sort of felt like that you should be grateful for that opportunity. It's a good money, it's secure. So off I go again, back into a job. I kept the website for the bunting going, and I got divorced in the meantime. So then it was a case of, right, well, I've got to, pay the bills and everything. And then I was dropping Sienna off at breakfast clubs, picking her up after school, from after school clubs, and she was like 3.5, and it used to break my heart every day. And I thought, what am I doing? I just handed my notice. And I kept my cloth. I was earning off my rental properties and a little bit from the website, and I just thought, we can do without certain things. I'll get to spend more time with her, and I can do what I want to do. I can be this businesswoman. So that's what I did. And it did. It grew. The bunting well, Bunting Queen, my business was called. It grew into, you know, a sort of a profitable business, you know, from just a pipe dream really, and a set up Bunting Hire. That was what we did. So something that wasn't really done, and we did to weddings, and I was just a bunting specialist, which is the most bizarre thing. So you can make money out of triangles on a piece of string. You can make money out of anything. Yeah. All fitted in with Sienna. So it's about that balance then, I think, you know.
So it led to a bricks and mortar business.
Yeah. Employed by sort of 2018, we're doing, you know, selling furniture paint, doing creative workshops. We're still doing the bunting, bit of a lifestyle shop, employing about 9 ladies, something, you know. So we're doing all right, you know. It's sort of from nothing, you know, no debt, picking at Sienna up when I want to pick her up from school, you know, all flexible, fits in with home life, and it was good. It worked.
What's coming to my mind right now is that your story is reminding us that life is full of changes and surprises, and so we have to maybe learn to trust our inner voice and guidance. And if we can move with that current, as resisting the flow of things can really create the problems that we end up suffering through. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, completely, 100%. Yeah, it's having that resistance to, you know, for it not to knock you off kilter completely, isn't it? Yeah.
Or like we have to keep reminding ourselves to keep an open mind so that the possibilities of new ideas and fresh options come to us. So was there a dramatic moment that led you to this new journey of coaching? You closed your business down?
Yeah, so that's interesting because in theory, by sort of 2018, I had everything, you know, what was wrong? Why I thought in about 2016, I kept thinking to myself, oh, it's me, it's my self-confidence, it's how I feel about myself, it's something physical. So I thought, oh, I need to lose some weight. So that's what I feel better after I've lost weight. So I enrolled with a personal trainer, lost 3.5 stone, and felt physically, you know, looked amazing. I was really chuffing myself. I could, you know, look in the mirror naked and be happy with who was looking back at me. And it'd been a while since I'd had that, but I still wasn't enough. It just still didn't quite feel right. And I kept thinking, that wasn't the answer. That's not it. So I thought, right, I've just fallen out of love with the shop then. I've done this now. Sienna was going well into secondary school and didn't need me to pick her up from school anymore. She, you know, so I thought, I'm okay now. The work of the shop is done. I'll find a new challenge. And nothing really showed itself. So I went back to a professional job again. Again, because somebody offered me a job, so I went with it because I'm polite and I'm a good girl, and that's how I think I, you know, sort of saw it. But I was desperately unhappy. I can't tell you, you know, so low, so wasn't fitting for me. So I put me in touch with an intuition coach, and she just intrigued me. I just went to talk to her, and I thought, and I've looked back on it now, and I realised that I thought she was going to tell me what I was supposed to be doing. I do literally think that outwardly, I thought the answer was somebody else had the answer for me. And I would go and have a meeting with her, and she'd go, Lucy, right, what you need to do is this, and it's going to make you blissfully happy, financially secure, and you'd be sorted. And she kind of did, but not in the way that I thought. She asked me to go home, and she said, you just need to unplug and dream. Mm-hmm. But what is she talking about? So it led me, I'd always been interested in self-help books and things like that, because again, I was looking for this answer. I'm going to open a book and it's going to be staring back at me. So I did what she wanted, and I took my headphones, go on walks and take my headphones out. And anyway, so I spent time just trying to reconnect with myself, and I was guided to a course which was, you know, self-discovery, and then it all just started to click into place. It just made massive sense to me. I had to dig really deep. So the answer that I'd been looking for in anyone I met, or a book I read, or a program I'd watched, or anything like that, the belief that it's within me was just revolution. I just, it's a shame it's taken me took me 46 years to realise.
I think it's in our 40s that we end up realizing we're not hearing it from anyone around us. And we
Yeah.
just need to sit still and just be present. Okay, so this is a segment in the episode where we take some inspirational pause and find out what our guest has been up to this week. Lucy, what are you reading?
Okay, so yeah, I've been reading. I'm currently reading a number of books, but the main one is "Discovering the Inner Mother" by Bethany Webster.
Bethany Webster.
Yes, yeah, it is really good. It's about a mother wound. So it's really quite deep, but very interesting. Sort of looking back through your feminine
ancestors.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And patterns of sort of behaviour and treatment, usually down the maternal line, as it were, and recognising those traits and patterns, I suppose, and then seeing how to adapt them to a more positive and enlightening, I suppose, sort of angle for you as a parent to pass on to your children.
Very interesting. I definitely know that I repeat patterns that my mum used to make, and I'm very much aware of it. And certain ones, I really am trying to avoid and change, but it's very present in me.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you watching, if anything, if you have time?
Yeah, no, the one thing that I've watched recently that was very interesting was a Netflix documentary called Heal, but you can look it up.
Yeah,
and have you seen it?
Yeah, a while ago.
Really good, isn't it? About the power of the mind on your and how the influence on your well-being.
Definitely.
Amazing.
Very good. And what are you listening to?
I do listen to quite a few podcasts, and the one I've come up this week actually is one called "Oh My Goddess." So that's really good. Touches on the feminine and masculine energy awareness. So yeah, I'm loving that.
I'll be sure to check that out. And who are you following? Anyone inspirational we should all be following?
Barefoot 5.
Barefoot 5. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit controversial. She's called Brooke Hampton. She's not for the faint-hearted, but I like her because she's wild and raw.
And what are you using? Any apps, gadgets, or props, or anything that you are using at the moment?
An app I use every day is Insight Timer.
Insight Timer, I use that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I use that for my meditation.
Do you use the timer alone, or do you do guided listening?
Use a bit of both. I started with guided. There's one in there I really like, a mindfulness, 10-minute mindfulness, I think it is. So that was like an introduction to my meditation when I first started. And then I will use the timer. Yeah. So, but there's just so much information on there, isn't it?
Great. Thanks for those. So coming back to the present day, your daughter Sienna, she's now 15. Homeschooling has possibly been a little easier for you than other mothers who have younger kids, I'm sure. How do you structure your days to work and tend to your family's needs?
Sienna is a real sort of self-starter and very motivated, so I have to almost stop her working more than anything. So yeah, in terms of what I do, I'm mindful of what time I've got, which time requires me to have my mum hat on and which wife hat on and all that. And I think I just sort of probably just divide my day based on what I'm able to do when.
So would you say sort of not setting yourself too many goals and not sort of overachieving?
Yeah, definitely not too much rigidity.
When we went into first lockdown, I was like, oh, this is it. This is perfect because I'm going to get all my teaching done. I'm going to, do it all. I'm at home. I can do so much. No, just did
Yeah.
not happen. Less ambitious, learning to just curb curb the lists so much.
Definitely. Yeah. And I do sort of, yeah, that you just, it's back to that flexibility, isn't it? And sort of, sort of honouring cycles of, productivity, even, that, okay, it's not happened today, but hopefully it'll happen tomorrow, or, and that's okay, being okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's,
But I feel exactly what you've said. Yeah, the balance of work life is about also acceptance of what has been achieved and what hasn't been achieved, and then just allowing that to be okay.
yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah,
think a
yeah.
lot of this not finding balance is sometimes the thoughts that we have in our head about how we perceive ourselves to be good or bad or not good enough or not achieving because of our own standards.
Yeah, yeah, and just being more kind, just being kinder to yourself, isn't it? Give yourself a break, and sort of assessing, does that really matter? How important is this? I think a big part for me in in my sort of journey, as it were, I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Was a game changer for me in the being very mindful of the present. I'm not somebody that lives in the past, thankfully, but I have been guilty of living probably an hour ahead of myself constantly, if not, a couple of days ahead, and not really tasting right here, right now, and getting massive enjoyment out of every minute. Yeah, that book, I highly recommend it. So yeah, so that was really good, because always looking for the next thing was my sort of tendency,
Yeah.
whereas again, back to balance and calm, and inner calm has arrived, which was never there,
Yeah.
which is so nice.
And this is good enough.
Yeah,
This is what you have, and this is all you need, really,
yeah,
right now.
that's great. Yeah, but sorry, I was just going to say then, and that now is on route to wherever I want it to be, and that's exciting, and that's brilliant. So I love now. That is.
Do you regard yourself as someone who takes self-care practices as an important part of your week? Like, how would you recharge the depletion of your battery and your energy?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, so I guess that goes back to the morning ritual. That's a huge part of that for me. I really honour my sleep now. I use the term a million mile an hour, because that's my brain used to work that fast. I used to operate on that think that I had to be going really fast. I had to stay up really late. I had to, sort of always be sort of thrashing everything. So I've inner calm and balance has arrived. And that involves self-care, and self-love, sort of honouring rest as much as doing, so like I said about unplugging before, I do have conscious time where I don't have any media on, I don't have anything in my ears, I'm out in nature, and I'm just seeing what my brain comes up with, and it's lovely. It's
Just a
yeah.
bit of before Christmas, you put out a very inspirational post on Facebook and a really vulnerable moment in your life that you were happy to share because of the good it could possibly do for others. Because just before Christmas, you contracted Bell's palsy.
Yeah, that's right. So it just came on literally during the day, maybe over a couple of days period of headache, and for those that don't know, it's a facial paralysis. So half of my face literally was paralysed. So I wasn't able to shut my eye. I couldn't smile. I couldn't. It's a bizarre affliction, or whatever you come for. I didn't have much pain with it at all. Just scary. So it was 24 hours in hospital, where they told me that they thought it was a stroke. Then it was diagnosed as Bell's palsy. So yeah, it was a bit hairy, to say the least. But the Bell's palsy diagnosis was really positive, because obviously it wasn't a stroke. But I did a video when I first got out of hospital, just because someone just told me to do it. So I just spoke to the camera and explained, and my face is completely, asymmetrical, and I've got a rather big smile normally, and couldn't smile. So I just wanted to, authenticity is massive to me. I've realized that, people showing up and feeling comfortable being just themselves is so important, because that's just easy if you're just you. So obviously that was who I was then. So from the 17th of December, that's what I look like. I wanted to show up as that person, and this might be how I am forever now.
I thought
Also,
it was wonderful. Sorry,
thank you.
just to interrupt. Only also because I have a friend who also suffered with it, possibly over 30 years ago. She still to this day doesn't like having her picture taken. She really suffered the fact that it was on her face, and you cannot hide your. I mean, nowadays we're wearing masks, so there is a certain amount of hiding going on. But the face, you cannot hide your face. Eventually,
Yeah.
it kind of caused her to want to stay at home. She internally suffered greatly as a consequence of the Bell's palsy. And I feel like the way you just deliberately put yourself out there and faced it prevented that fear coming over you of having to then show up in situations that.
I think I could foresee that. I could sort of, there was something at the back of my mind that was sort of saying, if you don't do it now, I think this will go bigger and bigger, and your ego is going to blow this into some huge problem, and you're going to shy away. So be brave and do it now. So I did strike very quickly, and the same with going out and about. I could feel something inside was just stay inside. You don't need to go out. So I forced myself to push through that fear, isn't it? And just keep, because what do I really want? I want to still be able to go out. I still want to be able to show up. And people shouldn't be, it wasn't just about me, how I felt. It was people's reactions to things, and if we shy away from what's perfect or what's pretty or what's supposed to be too much, then that isn't, people should almost have to face it, and sort of that, not to make it feel so awkward. And I wanted to raise awareness, because it can happen to anyone, so if you saw that or you felt it coming on yourself, that's what Lucy had, if it did that to one person, then that was some good had come from it.
And now 2 months later, it looks like the treatments really worked. And would you
that's it.
Back to how you were?
Yeah, I'm as whatever normal is for me. That's where I'm
at. You want to use that word?
No, I'm so, and I am so grateful. I'd sort of short
smile back.
Yeah, that's it. I'm looking in the mirror and thinking, oh my goodness, my smile has gone. So yeah, you're grateful for being able to blink and smile.
Yeah, opening up to that idea that vulnerability can bring great growth. I do believe that we can all benefit from that, and being a little bit softer and kinder with ourselves, and allowing ourselves to be seen in our truth automatically helps others connect and understand us, but also themselves, and perhaps becoming more curious about what's going on and themselves might mean that they open up a little bit more too. The pause button. So I invite you now to spend a moment in this present time, space that you find yourself. Sitting in a chair, or simply standing with your feet rooted to the ground. We're going to bring awareness to our breath as we take a deep inhale through the nose and a slower exhale through the mouth. Another inhale and a gentle exhale, releasing any tension that you find in your body. And just bringing awareness to the consistent cycle of breath. Perhaps we can focus on the breath by counting as we breathe in. We can say, I know I'm breathing in. And as we breathe out, we can say the number 1. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, 2. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out for 3. And using this time, in this moment, we can remind ourselves to have some flexibility about our lives. Knowing that life is full of changes and surprises. And your guidance is to move with the current, for it is resistance of the flow that creates the problems. And as we learn to accept the possibility that there are other ways, previously unseen doorways will be opened to you, and you will move easily through these changes. Knowing that there is a solution to every problem. So look at all things with eyes of love and expectation. Then life force will flow freely through you. In this flow, you will feel healthy and alive, and you'll access the necessary resources of wisdom within yourself to help you through the change. You can practice the affirmation, I am free and flexible. I am free and flexible. Finishing with a deep inhale and a sigh. So back to the show. And so for those creative mums listening, wanting to make an income out of their passion that fits in with home life, what 3 things do you think you could suggest that they do to get started?
Yeah, okay. So I had a little think about this, and the first one I would say is to really allow yourself to dream. So by that, I mean, just don't play small, be really, really ambitious, and allow yourself to visualize what that will feel like. So where do you want to go? Where's this going to take you? I think that sort of connection with your fire in your belly, as it were, that sort of keeps you clear on, yeah, I'm doing this because I want to get to here. That's important, I think, the visualization.
It comes back to the quote that you gave to us by Buddha. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. And what you imagine, you create. So being able to imagine that vision, that life that you would like to create, and sort of spend some time in that space. The more that we practice that vision, the more that then becomes part of our reality, in that we feel safe spending time imagining and hoping and sort of planning, and good to desire things. It's part of our nature as humans to desire.
Definitely. And it works back into that belief system, doesn't it? That you believe that is possible. So therefore, you don't give up on that dream, because you believe, well, that's what's going to happen. So I'm on the track to that.
And I think sometimes we think that we imagine something vast and it lands in our laps. That's not how manifesting comes about. They're the incremental, intuitive steps that we end up taking, trusting our gut, that will then take us to that vision and that dream that we have. It's not that it just appears out of nowhere. It's just the practice of listening. And I think that brings us on to your second point, perhaps.
Yeah, so that was going. The second one is so honouring unplugged time. Yeah, so I've mentioned this before, but so connecting with your intuition, whatever you want to call that, your knowing, your soul, whatever. But really finding quiet time. I used to have the telly on or the radio on or something happening around me all the time, and I hadn't realised that I was doing it. So you can't hear your own thoughts. So yeah, that would be the second one, is so that you know what is right for you. You're not following anything, or you're other than your own gut. I think that's really important.
So being able to hear your own thoughts, notice, then you're able to notice the emotion that comes through those thoughts, which then gives you that guidance and that intuition to steer your ship in whichever direction you need to.
Yeah, that's right. And I think kind of perhaps also, connecting with the difference between your mind and that chatter and the million mile an hour that I was mentioning before, but also, in the difference between that and your gut. There's a calling and quietening off this, I should do this, I need to do that, what will such and such think, not listening to that, going a little bit deeper and listening to your gut.
Wonderful. And your third one?
Yeah, the third one's about treat it like a business right from the start. It's not a hobby. You're going to make money out of this, and this is going to be what is going to be your financial security for the future. So by that I mean, don't shy away of the financial side of things. As soon as money starts coming in, start to pay yourself. Sort of do recognize that this is a money-making machine. You love it, but it's also it's there to make you money as well. So, and if you don't have that experience, or you can learn those skills, they're just skills, that's all. They might not feel natural to you straight away, but you can just pick them up. So yeah, it's a business. Don't fall into the hobby trap.
And speak highly of it.
Yes.
I've got a small little thing happening on the side. Speak with passion about it. Speak it in a way that you believe it to grow into, even if it's not right now how it actually is. But
that's right. Yeah, and it's okay to fake it till you make it, sort of thing. That is good, because you know where it's going to go. So you believe in it. That is so important. But yeah, it's a business.
Well, Lucy, thank you so much for sharing your inspiring yet relatable story with us today. If any of it resonates with our listeners, which I'm sure it does, can you please share where they can find you and where to get more info?
Yeah, sure. So I've on Instagram, I am lucy.sayles, which is SAYLES.coaching. You can find me, Lucy Sayles, on Facebook as well. I've got a website too, which is lucysayles.com.
And I'll put all of these links in the show notes. So thanks once again, Lucy, and I'll speak to you very soon.
No, thank you, Ella.
I hope you found resonance with today's conversation. I think Lucy's story is a gentle reminder that life is about experimenting, trying new things and taking leaps of faith, trusting our intuition a little more rather than taking on the ideals and opinions of others, going inward to find the answers and eliminating the belief that others know what's best for us. Nothing in our journey is wasted or forgotten. Each new decision or choice has brought us to the person we are today. Without all the pieces of the puzzle, we wouldn't be the same person we are, and that to me feels a little sad. Looking back and in hindsight can often make us feel that we have made bad decisions, but in reality, we can never truly know how things could have turned out. Yes, things would be different, but not necessarily better. Lucy shared how her joy in her present is through having more presence, through practices that give her connection to her higher self and purpose. As a consequence, she improves the lives of all of those who are in contact with her. So spend time in contemplation this week. Unplug a little more, recharge and reflect on what's coming up. Your thoughts hold the answers you are longing to be told. Dream big, take your mind on new adventures, and when the persistent nagging of an idea keeps showing up, write it down. Know that your ideas are valid and take them seriously. Enjoy your week. I would love to hear your thoughts about this week's episode. Drop me a message at mindfullyella on Instagram. And if you like the podcast, please share and leave a review. I'm learning apparently it helps reach more hearts and ears that may need to hear it. So join me next week as I have a joyful conversation with Caroline Pfeiffer, skincare specialist from the inside out. Caroline shares her journey on how she built a business that ran alongside her family, quite literally, and we get some great advice for our own skin and general well-being. So see you here next Saturday.